The Lincoln University Oaklanders have now lost 25 consecutive football games. Since the program was first launched in 2021, the team has compiled a record of 3-42. Of those 42 losses, only one was determined by a single score, and that was the team's very first game. The Oaklanders have only scored more than 20 points twice in program history. Their average margin defeat in those 42 losses is 40.8 points. According to player participation figures from Lincoln's opponents in 2025 so far, the team had 45 players suit up in week 1, 34 in week 2, and 42 in week 3. A quick glance at their sidelines suggests these numbers are likely accurate. This is a program that has played 0 home games and only once in the state of California, despite the school being located in Oakland. A roster doesn't exist for this year's side, or any year for that matter. Stats, good luck. You would not know the Lincoln University Oaklanders football program even exists, apart from the fact that each of the past 5 seasons they've shown up to some far-flung locations across America to collect a resounding loss and a paycheck. They are not assigned to any college football classification and have played everyone from FCS to Division III schools. Those wins do count for the record of their opponents and remain the only real documentation Lincoln University football is actually a thing. Life in the shadows of college football, though, is probably how the school's athletic director and head football coach Desmond Gums likes it. A man who has filed for more bankruptcies than won college football games as a head coach, and by some margin for the record, is desperately trying to leverage his low-level position into something bigger and better for himself. Don't take my word for it, though. He's churning out plenty of AI-generated content that extols his virtues as a college football head coach and athletic director. He's shaping champions at Lincoln University. Do you know what Gums' winning percentage is as head coach of the football program? Here, let me count it out for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. His winning percentage is 7%, and I rounded up there. But you know what? Maybe that's a bit harsh. Let's see what else Gums has got AI to write about him. With Desmond Gums at the helm, the future of Lincoln University's football program looks bright. This, again, is a man who has lost 25 consecutive football games. I mean, technically that number was 24 when he published the article, but you get the idea. This is delusional and in many ways embodies the Lincoln University football program. The entire thing here under Gums screams capital SCAM scam. But because this isn't being broadcast on ESPN like Bishop Sycamore, and because the coaches scheduling this team don't really want to know the truth about the school, Gums is allowed to sell everyone the world and deliver a busted globe. Honestly, it felt as if the football program at Lincoln University was well on its way to collapse when USA Today published an expose on it in February 2024. Rampant issues were uncovered, from a shortage of basics, including food and water, to having no certified athletic trainer, to coaches collecting rent from student athletes. The problem is that all of this happened in February, when public interest in college football is relatively limited. The story did generate some headlines, but most people just sort of forgot about it, and those coaches still scheduling games against Lincoln University probably didn't care. They just need someone to come in and play them. They needed someone to fill a date. And if there's one thing the Oaklanders do well, it is collecting paychecks to fill voids in schedules. Since the NCAA does allow Lincoln to be a countable opponent, it's just sort of a situation of no harm, no foul. But it is definitely time for college football to call foul here. Not because of the wins and losses and losing streaks or only playing road games. You could almost overlook all of that if there was a reason, a good reason for Lincoln's football team to exist. That is a question no one can answer. Lincoln University, there's no school spirit for a school that has a few hundred students at any given semester. There's certainly no civic pride. The people of Oakland and the East Bay probably don't know Lincoln University is real, nor do they know the school has a football team. The entire relationship here is transactional. The school uses student athletes to boost its flagging enrollment, and players use the school's football team as a chance to get some game tape against FCS schools. To better understand this, though, we need to look at the man who is driving all of this at Lincoln University, Desmond Gums, the athletic director and football head coach. Let's go back to that USA Today article, shall we? Because basically a few days after that was published, something weird starts happening. Over the span of the next 2 months, Gums creates just about every type of public account known to mankind. There is a YouTube channel, multiple WordPress blogs, a Blogspot blog, a Wix site, an About Me page, a Quora, a Dailymotion account, a SoundCloud account, Pinterest, Issue, Crunchbase, a Behance account, a Hashnode, a freaking Patreon page. Why does a college football head coach need a Patreon page? The thing is when you look at these various accounts and what's been posted to them, they all feature AI slop articles. Now, sometimes these articles have been converted into audio and video files, but it is just the same absolute trash. Here, let's take a look at one. Athletic rise of what? 25 consecutive football losses? Just to be clear here, Desmond Gums has won a grand total of 0 championships. The Lincoln University Athletic Department was founded in 2021, so what's happening here? Like, you should know when you took this job. That's a fucking cricket background. You couldn't even find B-roll or whatever AI program you used or whoever you hired to do this, couldn't find B-roll of an actual American sport. I mean, I like cricket, but come on. Okay, we're just gonna fast forward because all of this is just same super spammy nonsense. Then we get to this one. The dummy text is still on the slide. No one bothered to change or just even delete the word quote from this slide. Holy hell, man. It's so bad. And look, it's one thing to write a flowery bio for you for a website. That's something just about everyone does. This stuff, though, is wildly unprofessional and extremely suspicious, and everything all he's published is this bad or worse. The goal here is so painfully obvious. He hopes that when people search for him, this is the kind of stuff that does turn up, and in some ways it has worked. And if someone were to query artificial intelligence about Desmond Gums, he's hoping that AI pulls from all of the AI slop he's put out there and not from, the truth. Now, some out there do try to defend Gums' action. They say he doesn't take a salary from Lincoln University, which is true. They say he's doing it for a good reason, that it's all about the kids. The thing is, though, that's not really true. The USA Today article noted some players just happen to be staying at properties owned by an LLC under the Gums family name. This could also help explain why coaches were collecting rent from players. I mean, just saying. By the way, Gums has a huge number of companies under his name, under the names of family members. He just has this wide network of LLCs. So who's to say Gums hasn't wormed some of these into leeching off other aspects of the Lincoln University Athletic Department? It's certainly possible, because worming his way into situations he has no business being involved in is just about the only thing in life Desmond Gums does well. This is a man with an absurd amount of bankruptcies, including a 2022 one in which he was found to have owed $1.2 million. In fact, would you like to know how Desmond Gums was preparing for Lincoln's 2025 football campaign? By going through another bankruptcy proceeding, this one for Earl Freddie Invest C LLC, which is best known for buying a hotel in Reading in 2017, which quickly morphed into a den of prostitution under his watch and was ultimately sued by the county. The bankruptcy of Earl Freddie C LLC was actually that entity's second go-round. They had filed in 2023, having shown they owed creditors more than $1.7 million. When he wasn't doing that, Gums helped start BLK Prime around 2020 and served as their leader for a while. That boxing promotion really baffled the boxing community because it was paying fighters in advance, such as Terrence Crawford, despite having no money, history, business plan, all of that stuff you would hope to have. No one in the sport to this day really understood what exactly BLK Prime's end goal here, or who exactly was running the operation. Now, they did make that big splash with the Terrence Crawford fight, and then they inked a multi-fight deal with Adrian Broner, who said the money the company had was real, only to exclaim it actually wasn't real 4 months later when leaving BLK Prime after fighting a grand total of 0 times. The company has since retreated back to the fringes of boxing, occasionally hosting a low-level event here and there. That company, by the way, was also supposed to be working on a Suge Knight biopic project that was going to premiere in fall of 2023. Well, fall 2023 came and went. It is now autumn 2025, and that project, still no information, no details, very much never released and never filmed. In the 2000s and 2010s, Gums was involved with a few different TV projects and made a name for himself there by not paying people. Get this though, Lincoln University isn't the first dubious school Gums has been involved with. You see, around the early 2010s, he founded Stellar Preparatory High School in Hayward, California. The school more or less existed so Gums could coach his sons and some of their friends in a high school setting where education did not matter. Seriously, good luck finding anything about the level of instruction at Stellar Prep, anything that would lead you to believe this was a halfway decent high school experience. But man, anytime anyone at Stellar Prep got offered by a university, that was announced to the world. There is more to the Stellar Prep Con, however. Do you know who the last listed principal, and the principal still on their website, was? Laleen Shepard. Shepard and Gums actually go way back to 2008. That is when she worked as a costume designer on one of his movies. Then in 2017, she's tapped to oversee the school, which, by the way, is taking place in a small retail building in Hayward. There is certainly nothing stellar about that, nor is there anything stellar about the reasons to attend this high school. I mean, number 4 is being close to public transit, but again, nothing about learning here. That aside, Shepard has no real experience in education at this point in her professional career, certainly nothing that would lead you to believe she should be in charge of any high school. Prior to this, she was working at Hilton, but Gums, who is CEO of the nonprofit under which Stellar is run, gave her the job anyway. She leaves in 2020 to go work for Gums at BLK Prime, the boxing and production company. At that point in time, she ends up on Atlanta TV to promote a casting call for that Suge Knight project.
At the Courtyard Marriott in downtown Atlanta, we'll have a casting for all of the roles.
After BLK Prime sort of retreats, she ends up at Lincoln University in the athletic department with Gums. Anyway, back to Stellar Prep. After Shepard leaves in 2021, the entire endeavor just turns to crap. Gums, of course, is hired by Lincoln University that year, and while he'd stepped down as the football coach at Stellar Prep, he was basically the lead administrator handling things like scheduling, similar to what Lincoln University would go on to do under his watch. Stellar decided it was going to play body bag games in far-flung locations across America. There was a game in Tennessee scheduled. They'd also scheduled a game in Texas, both of which they would be paid handsomely for. The entire thing is a disaster, though. The team no-shows the game in Tennessee without ever giving a reason why, and then pulls out of the game in Texas as well. He also flakes on a school in California. The 2021 season, they stopped playing games. They stopped showing up. No one really ever knows or cares what's happening to them because it's a high school of 30 some odd kids. By 2022, Stellar Prep just quietly disappears. The similarities, though, between that high school, which Gums founded and was CEO of, and the athletic department, which he's been given carte blanche to run, are similar. They run very deep. Chief among them is a complete lack of information on any of the activities being undergone, but a desire to solicit money from others. Seriously, go look at the Stellar Prep website. It still has a donate button on it, despite the fact the school hasn't been in operation for several years now. You can't miss the massive give tab at the top of the LU Athletics website. Yet good luck trying to find anything related to results, player stats, even rosters. There are NCAA football created teams with better backstories than that of Lincoln University, and that's a real school allowed to play FCS teams. There is, of course, a reason for this. Desmond Gums wants to control his narrative. That's because the more you know about him and his dealings, the less you want anything to do with him. I mean, take a look at that whole high school experience. Gums starts Stellar Prep to coach his kids, but he also started it as a way to leech into the high school football recruiting scene, either hoping maybe another high school would see him and give him a shot to run their athletic department and football team, or somehow he just weasels his way into the college recruiting scene. Really just looking for someone else to con, and it failed because he's just not very good at it. He's done the same thing with boxing and television production, and the results were the same. And now he's trying that same tact, that same path with the Lincoln University Athletic Department. And the end goal here, it's certainly not to help student athletes, because he's not doing that. His end goal here is to try to weasel his way either up the college football ladder to find another school to take a chance on him, or maybe he finds a patsy to pump a lot of money into the Lincoln University Oaklanders athletic department and football team. Desmond Gums preys on the dreams of others, but that way he can say what he does is for someone else. It's to try to help someone, when in reality, this is all about furthering his own ambitions, his dreams. He wanted to help kids by opening Stellar Prep, but when that no longer had any value to his goals, the school was shuttered. This is a man who, when asked by USA Today how he kept funding these various endeavors, responded with this gem of a line, 3 letters, God. God sure is a funny way of saying, I am going to borrow a bunch of money, which I don't have and have no intention of ever paying back. Then eventually he just files for bankruptcy when the latest scheme doesn't pan out. By the way, if you think God in any shape, form, religion, however you want the deity or deities to be seen, if you think he, they, it, whatever you want to call it, is cool with the nonsense you've been running, you need to renounce religion immediately, because it is a construct well beyond your intelligence. Sadly, Gums has found someone dumb enough to give him a runway at Lincoln University, Dr. Mikhail Brodsky. Worryingly, the man in charge of the university is your classic higher education type who really lacks street smarts. When Gums pitched him the idea of starting athletic department to help stabilize enrollment at the university, which was hit hard by COVID, it certainly sounded swell to him. Even more swell when Gums says, I'm not going to take a salary for any of this. 3 wins, 42 losses, an average margin of defeat of more than 40 points is tough. Then again, you could almost stomach those struggles if there were signs of progress, if a foundation was being built with the Lincoln University Oaklanders, if this wasn't simply a vanity project to fulfill one man's ego. Instead, Gums is filing for yet another bankruptcy and seems more interested in churning out AI slop that tells the world how great of a coach and athletic director he is. Delusional doesn't even begin to describe this. Desmond Gums has turned Lincoln University football and the greater athletic department into a scam. And it's a scam he's allowed to get away with because he maintains it so far on the fringes of college athletics, no one sees it. It is beyond time for someone in college athletics to stop this charade. Either force the school to hire a real coach and a real athletic director and build an actual athletic department with people who know how to do such a thing, or just disband the entire thing. Because what is happening at Lincoln University today when it comes to the football team and athletics only benefits one individual and one individual alone. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to know the story of one of college football's wildest runs, a 5-game stretch that you need to know about because it includes a 100-point showing, check out the video in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And for that time, a college football team put a logo on the butt of their pants, video lower left-hand corner. Until next time, I am Cheyenne Hollis. This is The Touchback, and as always, hashtag take it out to the 25.